Hi there, welcome to Achiever Today. My name is Mirza Adam. Today I'm going to start a very significant topic of grammar, that is tense. So let me ask you, what is tense? So tense is nothing but simply time. The time in grammatical sense is called tense. So whenever there is the word tense, so just understand that we are talking about the time. So broadly, the time in grammar is divided into three parts: the past, present, and future. So in this video, particularly, we will be dealing with the very first tense, which is present indefinite tense. Why present, not past? Because it is easier for us to understand the notion that is present, that is happening in the current time. So that is the reason why we are beginning with present indefinite tense, not with past or future. Okay, so let's discuss the present indefinite tense in this video. Okay, so first of all, I am going to give you the different uses of present indefinite tense. The very first use which I'm going to tell you is the habitual action. So the first use is habitual action. This tense is present indefinite tense, is used for habitual action. That means something that we are used to or we are accustomed to. We use such types of sentences under the category of present indefinite tense. Okay, we take the help of present indefinite tense. Let's take up the very first example I have added here is I read magazines. I read magazines. That means I am in a habit of reading magazines. I am habitual to it. I am habitual to reading magazines. Okay, so this is a habit. For this sentence, I take the help of present indefinite tense. Now, the second example of habitual action is he washes his clothes himself. He washes his clothes himself. So everybody does not have this habit. So there are very few people who wash their clothes themselves. So this is a habit. Okay, so he washes his clothes himself is his habit. Alright, now the second use of present indefinite tense is the routine. Routine, I hope you must be knowing the meaning of the word routine. Routine is something that we do regularly or frequently. Okay, so the first example which I've added here is she goes for jogging every morning. She goes for jogging every morning. So there is a kind of regularity. She goes for jogging every morning. Every morning denotes the regularity. She goes there regularly. She goes for jogging regularly every morning. Okay. So the next example is John attends the classes daily. John attends the classes daily. So there is also a sense of regularity. John attends the classes daily. So this is the John's routine. Alright? Okay. The third use of present indefinite tense is universal truth or universal fact. Something which is accepted universally. Something which is accepted by everyone. Nobody denies it. Nobody says that this is not true. Everybody will accept it very easily. So the first example which I have added here is the sun sets in the west. So if we take up this example, if you go to America, an American will easily accept this statement that the sun sets in the west. Okay, for an Indian, the statement is all correct. For any other person, any person across the globe, this statement is perfectly correct. Okay, so this is universal truth. This is something which is universally accepted. Second, the education never goes in vain. This is also a universal truth. So everybody will accept it that the education never goes in vain. In vain means it never goes. It is never wasted. Okay, so the education is never wasted whatever you perceive, if you are an educated person, it is going to help you out at any stage of life. Okay, so education is something that is never wasted. So this is also an example of a universal truth or a universal fact. So these are the different uses of present indefinite tense. Okay, now let's take a look at the formula. How to frame a sentence which is of present indefinite tense. So if it is an affirmative sentence means positive sentences which have the positive nature. So if it is a positive sentence and it belongs to present indefinite tense, so what will be the structure like? The basic formula for the structure is the subject, and don't forget the subject should, if the subject is third person as well as singular, so both the conditions should be met. If the subject is third person as well as singular, not plural or not any other person. If the subject is third person and singular, so the verb which comes with it will be in its basic form, as well as it will be having an S or ES according to the spelling. So that's obvious. So V1 means the basic form of the verb plus S or ES as per the spelling of the word. Okay, now let's take a look at the few examples. First example which I've added here is he likes coffee. The first sentence is he likes coffee. So what is the subject here? The subject is third person as well as it is singular in nature. So it is third person as well as of singular. It is also singular. Okay, now the verb, the root word is like, but I am adding here the S. So why I am adding S? Because of the rule, the basic rule for present indefinite tense. I am adding S. Okay, so the sentence will be like, he likes coffee, not he like coffee. That will be grammatically incorrect. Okay, let's take another example. My father works in a bank. My father works in a bank, not my father work in a bank, because that will be grammatically incorrect again. Okay, so my father, I'm talking about my father, who is third person as well as singular. So I am adding S again with the main verb. So it will be my father works in a bank. So just have a look at the subject verb agreement. If the subject is singular, the verb will also be singular. And if the subject is plural, the verb will also be plural. In case of present indefinite tense, let me tell you one thing. If we add S or ES in the end of a verb, it becomes singular. Okay. Unlike the noun, if a noun has an S or ES in the end of it, that means it becomes plural. But no, not in this case. If we add S or ES in the end of a verb, in case of present indefinite tense, it becomes singular. Okay, so my father is third person and also singular. That is why I am adding S with the main verb work. So it becomes works. My father works in a bank. Okay, the third example. She studies in Delhi University. Now, what is the subject? The subject is it third person? Yes, of course. Is it singular? Yes. So, it meets both the condition. It is third person as well as it is singular. So, if it is the case, so we will again be adding S according to the situation. So the spelling of the word study is S-T-U-D-Y, but we have to modulate the spelling. We will be removing the Y and we will be adding I-E-S. So she studies in Delhi University. So this is grammatically correct, but if I say she studied in Delhi University, that will be absolutely incorrect. Okay, now let's take a look at the final example I have mentioned here is it functions better in the morning. It denotes to any object, anything. Okay, so it functions better in the morning. Something that functions better in the morning, not any other time of the day. So that means I am referring to one thing, one object. So that it functions better in the morning. So let's take a look at the subject-verb agreement. So the verb goes according to the subject. So it, this is used for singular, and this is a third person also. Third person as well as singular. So both the conditions are meeting here. So again we will be adding s. So this is the main important part of this tense. If you have a command of using this s, es properly, appropriately, that means you have learned present indefinite tense. Okay. Now let's take a look at the few examples wherein we will be discussing the different types of sentences. We basically, when we are studying tenses, so we talk about broadly three sentences, which are positive sentence, that is also called affirmative, the negative sentence, the sentences having negation in them, and the interrogative sentences, the sentences which are used for putting up questions. Okay, so let's take up the first sentence, the positive sentence. The example is, I do my work myself. So again, look at the subject-verb agreement. Here, the subject is not third person, but singular. It is not meeting both the conditions I told you. So I am not using es here. So I'm simply using the basic form of the verb without the addition of s or es. So it will be like this, I do my work myself. That's very simple. Next, she goes to the club every weekend. Now, I am not writing go, but I'm writing goes. So there is an addition of es. Why? The reason is very simple. Don't forget that formula I told you. She goes to the club every weekend. She is the third person and also singular. So that is the reason why I'm using goes, not go. So it will be like this. Now, let's take a look at the negative sentence. So the first negative sentence I have added here is, you do not write effectively. So the subject is you. This is second person. It's clear that this is second person. The subject is second person, although it is singular, but not the third person. So I will not again be using s or es with the main verb. So it will be very simple and like, you do not write effectively. This is grammatically correct. Next example, he does not play soccer. He does not play soccer. So why I'm not using do but does? The reason is again the same. He is singular as well as third person and both the conditions are meeting. That is the reason why I am adding es with the main verb do. And the sentence will be like this. Now, let's come to the interrogative sentence. So, what is an interrogative sentence? I have already told you, interrogative sentences are those sentences which are used to ask questions. Now, basically, there are two types of interrogative sentences. If we divide interrogative sentences, broadly they are of two types. What are those two types? The first type is the polar questions. Polar questions? What are polar questions? Polar questions are those questions, if you answer those questions, you will be getting the answer either positively or negatively. If I ask you, do you play hockey? So either your answer will be positive or negative. Yes, I play hockey. Or no, I do not play hockey. Okay, so these are the questions which demand the answer either in yes or no. So such questions are called polar questions. So let's have a look at the examples of the polar questions. Do you watch my videos? So this is a question and the answer will be either positive or negative. Do you watch my videos? So here the subject is you, that is second person, but singular. It may be singular or plural. Okay, so you can be used for both singular person as well as for plural. Okay, so do you watch my videos? Next, does your uncle help you? So why does not do? Because of the same reason, your uncle, not your uncles. So the your uncle is singular as well as third person, and that is the reason I am adding es here. So if I've added es with do, so there is no need to add s or es with the main verb. I am adding es in the auxiliary verb, in the helping verb. So the same case was there in the negative sentence. I added es in the helping verb, the auxiliary verb. So there is no requirement of adding s or es in the main verb. If I add s or es in this case in the main verb, that will be again grammatically incorrect. So you have to be very careful if there is any helping verb. So you will be adding ses if it is required with the helping verb, not with the main verb. Okay. Now, these two sentences are the examples of non-polar questions. So what are non-polar questions? Non-polar questions are actually the questions which are begin with WH question words. WH question words like what, when, where, who, how. These are the WH question words, and these are the questions which demand an answer in which I want some specific information, a particular answer. My answer should not be the positive or negative. So that will not be the appropriate answer. If I ask you, where do you live? So if I say, yes, I live, so that is not the appropriate answer. Okay, so I have to give the place exact that I live in New Delhi. So that means I have to give a specific answer. So let's take a look at the non-polar question. The first example is, why do you write this? Why do you write this? So you is the second person. I am using do, not does. Second example, what does your friend do? So here, your friend is singular. Okay. So it is singular as well as third person. That means it is not involved in the conversation. I'm talking about any third person. If I'm speaking, I'm the first person. The one who is listening to me is the second person. And if we are talking about any third person, he will be called the third person. Okay. What does your friend do? So here I am adding es with it. Okay. I hope you must have got this lesson, and we will continue with the next tense in our next video. Okay. So if you have liked my video, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.